everybody, welcome back to Tree of the Week. My name's Serena with Climate High Tree Experts. Unfortunately, last week I did not get to post Tree of the Week. I had just gotten back from a trip to Colorado, and Climate High Tree Experts has been working on a massive fire mitigation project here in the Verde Valley. So my time has been a little bit strained, but I'm back at it again this week and really excited to dive deep into another tree with you guys. The last video, we had used the book Trees of Arizona, and we talked about the Chihuahuan pine. And this week, we're going to be using the book Trees of North America. And I'm excited to use this book because it's going to kind of make us travel a little bit and remind us of the vast varieties of trees that we have here on our continent. I feel like sometimes it's easy to just be lost in the trees that we have in our backyard that we see driving down the road, or just the trees in our state. So I think this will be a good reminder and a journey for us as we talk about all the different trees that our continent has to offer. So I did pick a commenter's page number. So the page number this week is going to be 101. So let's flip over to page 101 and see what tree we'll be spotlighting this week. All right. So the tree we're talking about this week is going to be the Arizona cypress. So we don't get to travel out of state this week, but that's okay because this tree is really relevant. It's a great example of relevancy regarding the information that we've been sharing with the community about correct watering and what improper watering looks like. And this tree is a great example of that. And I'll touch a little bit on that and you'll understand, but also especially for this time of year, the temperature definitely has risen this week. So we're basically in summer. So a lot of the stuff that we're talking about with watering and certain trees that we have is extremely important. So Arizona cypress, I'm ready to talk about it. So the Arizona cypress is native to Arizona. It's also native to southwestern New Mexico and northern Mexico. It's been growing in the Southwest for thousands of years, and it primarily prefers kind of more rocky slopes, a little bit more on the mountainous side. So a little bit more of that higher elevation. That's why we see it do well here in the Verde Valley and other parts of Arizona. Within the thousands of years that it's been growing here, it has evolved to be able to handle our challenging and arid conditions that we have, which makes it a prime candidate for reforestation efforts. It's basically the prime choice because it is restoring and stabilizing the natural landscape that we have. The Arizona cypress is also the only cypress that is native to the Southwest. Now, how do we identify this tree? Well, in height, it averages about 40 to 60 feet. In the last video, I talked about the medium to large scale when it comes to tree height. This is going to put us in that medium range, so 40 to 60 feet. Now, in some cases, due to conditions and age of the tree, we will see it a little bit, we can see it taller than 60 feet, but on average, it'll stay within that 40 to 60 feet. The leaves are going to be scale-like leaves, not needles. And what that is leaves are going to be pressed and overlapping each other, almost like shingles on a roof. And that's called imbricate foliage. And they'll overlap each other off of the twig and kind of give that pattern. And what that does is it reduces water loss. And that is something that the tree has evolved to be able to do over the thousands of years that it has been here, to be able to handle our conditions and climates that we have out here. The color is going to be a silvery blue to a grayish green, so it makes it a little bit easier to identify in comparison to other conifers that we have out here. The cones are going to be small, round, woody, about 1 inch. And then the bark is going to be a reddish brown, and it's going to be fibrous, and it peels in thin strips, which gives it a rugged look. And something that I want to talk about with the bark is that the Arizona cypress actually naturally exfoliates. A lot of the time we'll get calls from clients saying, oh, my tree is shedding bark, oh no. And for some species of trees, that is a warning sign regarding tree health. But when it comes to the Arizona cypress, that is absolutely natural. Again, there are some cases where it does mean a warning sign, but overall, naturally, that's what the Arizona cypress does. It naturally exfoliates. The form is going to be conical in its growth habit. As a youth, the crown, so the top of the tree, is going to be dense and symmetrical, and then with a central leader. And then as it matures, the canopy is often going to be more open and irregular. So with the singular trunk, so that central leader, it's going to be what we call monopodial. And then from that central leader, the singular trunk, there's going to be excurrent branches. And the excurrent basically means that the branches are going to be growing out at an angle. So you can kind of look at it as like a scale like Christmas tree looking tree. They're absolutely beautiful. They smell great. But with that form, so if you see, a lot of conifers, but, that Christmas tree kind of looking tree, the branches up at the top are going to be shorter, and then they grow out to really long and lengthy branches. Keep that in mind if you're ever planning to plant an Arizona cypress. I know at the nurseries, they sell them, and like, I'm about 5'9", and the trees are shorter than me. A lot of the time we'll see the trees planted within like 5 feet to the house, and they're either, being used for privacy or eventually privacy, maybe potentially shade. But these trees grow really large at the base. Their branches do. They sprawl out really far. So if you're planning on planting an Arizona cypress, keep that in mind. I would recommend keeping it at least 15 to 20 feet away from your house to allow those branches to naturally grow and do what they're going to do without having to worry about, major pruning efforts. So that way it's not growing into the side of your house, but then also allowing the roots to be able to grow as they need to, without causing issues, A, to the roots, and B, to your home. We see that a lot too, where roots are cracking foundation. They're uplifting in the center of the house, and a lot of that can tie back to where the tree has been planted, and also watering, but I'll touch on that later. So just keep that in mind, that even though that this is a medium sized tree, it does sprawl out really far. So just keep that in mind as far as distance from your house, or any other structures or places that you want to have tree free. Good thing to know. So the question that was asked last time is for the Chihuahuan pine was, would this tree work in our area? So for the Arizona cypress, absolutely, it'll work here in the Verde Valley. It is a great choice. It is such a great tree to have, mostly because all throughout the Verde Valley, our soil conditions are somewhat different. From Sedona to Cornville, there's a big difference. There can be a big difference, but this tree has an adaptability to poor soil conditions, and also it being drought tolerant. So it gets really hot here in the summer. Overall, we typically don't experience a lot of rain. So that's what makes this tree a great candidate. However, the Arizona cypress is easy to overwater. A lot of that comes from its use to the monsoon seasons, the natural rains that we have, and that's very short spurts that we get of rain. Within the last couple years, we haven't really had a monsoon season. So if you have a mature Arizona cypress, that's where human intervention can come in and play a great role in prolonging the tree health when it comes to watering. So for a mature Arizona cypress, I would say, oh, and right here, we have our watering video. So if you are a tree owner or you're interested in the Arizona cypress, please check out our watering video. It gives excellent tips and tricks on how to water in Arizona, especially the Verde Valley. But we use the term slow and low. And all trees do best with consistent watering and infrequent. So going back to, if you have a mature Arizona cypress, maybe depending on your soil type, and there's a lot of variables that go into soil type. We'll actually be posting an educational video about that here soon. But depending on your soil type, you could be looking at, in the summer months, watering a mature Arizona cypress at least once a month. Maybe a little bit more, maybe twice. Really, that depends on your soil type and where the tree is located on your property. But overall, just to kind of give you an idea of how much water this tree needs, it does not need a lot of water. Now, if you are planting an Arizona cypress within the first year, they do require just a little bit more water, not too much more, but that'll help the roots establish and also assist in preventing the tree to be stressed. And even though the Arizona cypress, a lot of the times the saplings are grown here in Arizona, you have to think about where they came from and how they were taken care of. What soil were they in? You know, how often were they watered? All that. Unfortunately, there is a difference, you know, from nursery to nursery. So when you plant the Arizona cypress, you want to give it its best chance. So that's where, you know, maybe a little bit more watering would help a baby Arizona cypress versus a mature, established Arizona cypress. It doesn't need a whole lot of water. And again, your watering varies also off of your soil type. So if you have a slope, if you have, you know, clay soil, really compacted, if you have more of a sandy, really porous type of soil, all those play part into how we water our trees. But overall, I think I've, you know, said this enough. The Arizona cypress does not need a whole lot of water. It's a phenomenal tree. I think it's a great candidate to any homeowner for shade, for purposes for wildlife. It's beautiful. It is a low maintenance tree, and they're just absolutely great. I love that they are native, and I think it adds to any property. So if you're interested in getting a coniferous tree, I highly recommend the Arizona cypress. So that is the Arizona cypress. Yay! So next week, we are going to be working back into our Trees of Arizona book. So please comment a page number. First number that comes to your head, go ahead and drop it in the comments. It could be on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever. You can post it one time or three. It doesn't matter. You guys decide what tree we're going to be talking about each week. You leave the page number. I'll pick the page number that I see in the comments, and then we'll discover what tree we're talking about. So you guys are it. I need you. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the Arizona cypress. I really do love this tree, and I look forward to see what tree we'll unveil next week. So have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.